Taking place on Saturday, June 18th, inside the gates of the historic Fair Park. Fair Park is near and dear to my heart for many reasons, but particularly I do believe that it is one of the gems of Dallas located in the heart of District 7, and we attract, or the Fair Park attracts, over 7 million visitors annually to the great city of Dallas. We know that Fair Park is more than the State Fair of Texas and football classics, but it is home to many great museums, performance and entertainment venues, and landmarks that are open throughout the year. It is open all year long. And one of those institutions is the African American Museum of Dallas. And we also know that Fair Park, I see Celia Barshop here from Fair Park. We also know that Fair Park is celebrating its 80th anniversary. And starting next week, there will be a 4-day free festival. So there's always something to do at Fair Park. Before we get started, I'll recognize my colleagues. They might have to run off. We are in session today, and so I do want to recognize our Deputy Mayor Pro Tem Eric Wilson, Councilwoman Jennifer Gates, Councilman Adam Magoo, and Councilman Adam Madrano. Thank you for joining us. And then Councilman Philip Kingston, absolutely. And our city manager is walking through here, Mr. A.C. Gonzalez. Thank you for your service. I would also like to recognize the wonderful organization we'll hear later from the African American Museum. But first, let me bring up Mr. Philip Jones from our Dallas Convention and Visitors Bureau, and we also have joining us Councilwoman Carolyn King-Garnham. But Philip Jones and the Dallas Convention and Visitors Bureau, and he'll introduce who he has here. They are one of the sponsors for the rodeo, and so we want to thank you, and he'll talk about how they promote the city of Dallas and Fair Park.
Well, thank you very much, Councilmember Young, and to all the council members here in attendance, as well as all of you. It's very exciting for us to be here talking about yet one more big event that's taking place in Dallas. And we love to partner with local organizations like the African American Museum based at Fair Park to bring visitors in from around the United States to really experience what Dallas has to offer as a destination. You know, this is an event that will bring somewhere between 5,000 and 7,500 people, and we anticipate that about 1,100 visitors will stay in hotel rooms over the course of the event. So that's great economic impact for the city. It brings in revenues that the city can desperately use at a time when we're trying to promote Dallas as one of the premier destinations in the country. We really need a diversity and inclusion effort to really go after events like this to make sure people around the country understand that Dallas is a very diverse and welcoming community, and this is an event that we're thrilled to promote. We love working with Tiffany and her team to really try and showcase Fair Park as the true jewel that it is in our collection of venues across the city of Dallas. I have joining me today, we have Phyllis Hammond, as well as Cheryl Richards, who's our Vice President of Diversity and Inclusion at the CVB, and because of an organization known as the Dallas Tourism Public Improvement District, it is funding this event to the tune of about $10,000 to help make this happen. So we're thrilled that the Dallas Tourism Public Improvement District is able to support an event of this magnitude, and look forward to hosting many future events at Fair Park. And also notice that our Deputy Mayor is Monica Alonso is here as well. She happens to be the vice chair of my board, so if I did not recognize her, I'd be in a lot of trouble. But thank you for this opportunity. Thank you to the council and to all of you for your support, and to AC, thanks for your ongoing support of the Convention and Visitors Bureau. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, we will hear, we have joining us today Dr. Harry Robinson, who heads up the African American Museum. And speaking on behalf of the African, we see our former council member, Dwayne Caraway, walking in. And then also let me recognize Craig Holcomb from Friends of Fair Park, and thank you all for all of your advocacy work at Fair Park as well. And so next we will hear from Dr. Wright Lassiter, who heads the board of African American Museum. And then let me also pause to recognize I will be serving as one of the grand marshals for the rodeo. And then also, I'm not going to be riding in on a horse though. But also we have Mark McCray. Radio 1 is one of our sponsors. And so Mark McCray is there at 94.5, who will also join me as a grand marshal, as well as the newly elected mayor of DeSoto, my soror, Mrs. Curtis McCowan, will join us as a grand marshal as well. So thank you, Dr. Lassiter.
Well, good afternoon, Tiffany, and all who are here. On behalf of the Board of Trustees of the African American Museum, we're just delighted that we have so much visible support for the rodeo for this year by your presence here. And we thank you very, very much. We thank you not only for your physical presence, but we also thank you for your financial support for this activity. The African American Museum, as you have heard, is one of the stellar attractions in Fair Park. And our having the rodeo there just adds to the stellar of the African American Museum. Joining me at the hip always is the president and CEO of the African American Museum, Dr. Harry Robinson. We have known one another since 1976. So, Harry, speak to the people.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to thank all of you for coming out today to kick off the 28th Texas Black Invitational Rodeo. We're excited about it. We want you to get excited about it. We have 7,000 seats in the Fair Park Coliseum. We want to fill all of those seats. We need you to help us. We need volunteers. We will have our next volunteer committee meeting on next Tuesday at 6:30 at the African American Museum. And by the way, we have some food. I notice people always follow food. So we're gonna have some food for you, so come out and get your responsibility. But please come. And we have extended a special invitation to all of our elected officials to join the posse with Councilwoman Tiffany Young, Curtisine McGowan, and our friend Mark McCray, who's the operations manager at Radio 1. Again, thank you for coming, and I'd like to thank all of our sponsors for their support, and thank you, Mr. Chairman, for telling me what to do.
All right, thank you. And so we know that it's only fitting that the African American Museum would host the rodeo as we celebrate Juneteenth weekend. Juneteenth being Freedom Day, a very important day. And although it's not highly publicized, we know that black cowboys served an important role as a part of Texas history since the early 19th century. And so we want to continue to make the Texas Black Invitational Rodeo our Juneteenth tradition here in the city of Dallas for years to come. So we will continue to support the rodeo and do all that we can do to really get out. So I'm challenging my colleagues to come out and put on some cowboy boots and join us there in the Coliseum. On Friday, June 17th, very quickly, and then we will get out of the way for our dancing divas and dudes. But on Friday, June 17th, we will have the rodeo hoedown at the African American Museum, which there will be food, dancing, and live music. And then Saturday, on June 18th, will be the rodeo at the State Fair Coliseum. You can get there starting at 6 p.m. There will be black motorcycle clubs from across the country, across the nation, that will be there performing in the Coliseum. And then the rodeo will start at 7 p.m. with the talents of over 300 African American cowboys and cowgirls. So we invite you to get your tickets from the African American Museum. They start at $10, and then reserved seats are $35 with group discounts available. And we do once again want to thank our sponsors, the City of Dallas Office of Cultural Affairs, Dallas Convention and Visitors Bureau, NBC DFW, Radio 1, and KHVN. And so without further ado, just to give you a little taste of what we'll see, we have joining us for our closing number, the Dancing Dudes and Divas. then on the 18th at the rodeo. Thank you so much.